We are recording, you bitches.
All right, we ready to roll in about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week, we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing. 5 whole villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the ones and twos. By the name of Synopsis, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all with 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to another spooky episode of Straight Chilling. My name is Bob, and I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 237, recorded on Monday, October 21st, 2019. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Haunt from 2019. Before we get into the review, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from just outside Chicago, Randy Gandy G. Landy. What's up?
What's up? That was a nifty little thing you did with the word Chicago there. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Thank you for bringing it.
Do you get the reference? You know what that's from?
Is that fucking Ace Ventura?
It absolutely is.
Okay. I know you too well. I didn't immediately know that, but as soon as you said it's a reference, I knew what it was because we know each other too fucking well.
You're out of there.
There's no reason to bring Ace Ventura into this podcast. I just think we're good where we are with that.
Incorrect. Last but not least, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju. What's up, Soju?
What up? It's your boy, Soul Juice. How's it going?
No specialty juice tonight.
Well, some
Going back to basics.
Going back.
Souls are special.
Boys.
Souls aren't special. Everybody's got one. They all suck.
Such a
They're like
special,
assholes.
special soul, Rob.
Everybody's got one.
Everyone's got one, and mine is garbage.
You talking about your asshole or what? What are you talking
I
about?
mean, I'm talking about all things, baby.
It's
all things to all
ruined.
people. If it's mine,
All
it's
things.
garbage.
It's blown out.
Mm-hmm. It's smelly, that's
Oh.
for sure.
Spooky season. Boys and girls, spooky season. Only 10 days left.
Bob, what are you
For
going
Halloween.
to do? Bob's like
I literally
morning
don't know.
before it's
Your advent calendar
That's
starts
true.
on the 31st at midnight.
Rob,
It does.
Rob just spends the whole year anticipating Halloween, and then when it gets here for the whole month, he's just mourning its loss.
Oh, what am I gonna do when fucking November rolls around?
You just described every year of an older person's life. So congratulations, buddy. We crossed that Rubicon. We're there. Every
Only
year's dreading.
10 days left.
Oh,
I'm so
man.
excited. Oh, man. It's here. Bummer.
1 year closer to death.
Mhm.
God.
Here we are. Speaking of Halloween, speaking of death, let's go ahead and tackle some housekeeping real quick. I want to throw this out there. I'm going to be hitting up Spooky Empire on Saturday, November 2nd in Tampa, Florida. So if anybody's down there hanging out, hit me up and we'll hang out, shake hands, and talk about spooky shit.
Whoa,
What's your room
wow.
number, Bob?
Only Patreon members get that information.
Oh, shit.
Rob, you bringing
The
the fog hog?
patron-only orgies happening?
You gonna the fog hog?
You gonna fog out
Yes,
the
I'm
hotel
bringing the
room?
fog.
He's bringing the fog hog, but it's not the mist maker. It's,
That is
the
definitely
hog.
the nickname for my member, the fog hog.
Patreon
is-
members get exclusive access to Rob's fog hog.
Good Lord.
Hashtag harder with Rob.
Mm, yes.
Specifically.
God, this is
Specifically.
good synergy. Good, strong synergy.
It's terrible. In other housekeeping, just a reminder that we have our November poll pick posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about in November. The theme of November is movies that Juice would hate. The 3 movies that are up there are Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's 31, and Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. We had a tie last week.
Yeah.
It has
How those
been
numbers
broken.
looking, Bob?
Is it broken?
Yeah, 31 is now in the lead.
Whoa.
Just barely.
Oh.
Hey,
All right.
spooky
Devil's
season.
Rejects.
People getting wistful for that spooky season ending already, like Bobby.
That's
Is
true.
wait, is
Devil's Rejects
31
is next.
What
Mhm.
like what's the I don't even know the theme of 31. Like what's it based around?
It's Rob Zombie does Halloween without Michael Myers.
Oh really? So it is Halloween themed.
It's-
Okay.
It's
Yeah, I
Halloween
mean,
themed.
it takes place
It's
on
not
Halloween.
incredible.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Okay.
It's like this game called 31 where people try and murder you in a maze, basically.
Oh.
You gotta
Mhm.
try and not get murdered. And it's bad.
Sounds like pretty dumb to me.
Yeah. So you got 10 days left to vote on that poll pick. Make sure you get your votes in before the death of fun, also known as November 1st. Juice, do we have any YouTube or Twitch news?
Yeah, on YouTube, an exclusive new video from boy Randy Gandy G Landy and
Shaboy!
our boy Anthony from Something Ghoulish shouts out. But yeah, great job, Randy. I want to say you posted your video this week.
Shower me with your praise.
And it's a little John Carpenter quote that you have animated, and it is narrated by Anthony from Something Ghoulish. Really awesome little clip. Definitely check it out. It's on the YouTube, and that's youtube.com/Straight Chillin' Podcast. And it's up on the Facebook. I think, Bob, you got it on the Instagram and everything, right, too?
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. We got little teasers. So
check
it out.
Check that out. Perfect for the spooky season. Still playing through Blair Witch Project. I think I'm like almost done. There's like 16 chapters, I think, and I'm on 12. So I might finish this week. If you want to watch me get spooked out on the Blair Witch Project, you can watch live at twitch.tv/Straight Chilling Podcast. And then afterwards, I upload the streams onto the YouTube. So you can check it out there as well. And I think that's about it.
Cool. Very cool. So another week means another raffle. Another benefit that we're doing this month is every week we are raffling off a bundle of movies. The only thing you got to do to join the raffle is support us on Patreon at any level. So we got this week, and then next week we got one more bundle that we're going to be raffling off. So you still have some time to sign up for that if you're interested. But this week's winner is the one, the only Austin, Justin's little brother.
Whoa!
Nepotism.
# rigged.
So yeah, I was gonna say, how is there an emoluments clause for this podcast? Because I think maybe we should consider one.
Hey, fair is fair. Bob, you're using that
Man.
website I sent you, right?
Yeah,
randomnamepicker.com.
Randombrothergenerator.com.
Gotcha.
So we got some movies.
Brother generator. Damn.
Generates a
That's
brother.
a whole nother website.
Yeah, it is. That's a Black Mirror shit. Season 12 when things are real bad.
So we got some movies heading your way, Austin. Keep an eye out for those. And last but not least, this Friday, October 25th, Joe Bob Briggs is coming back with another marathon. I believe it's going to be a triple feature this time. It's Joe Bob's Halloween Hootenanny.
Whoa, we've talked to that man.
Doggy.
Or one of us
We
has.
Yes. I had the distinct pleasure of speaking with him.
Yeah. You think he'll give us a shouts out this Friday?
Yeah. We're going to be his top priority.
He's not. Hey, shouts outs to that weird fucker I talked to.
I talked to this weird asshole the other day. His name's Bob. Too many DVDs, this Bob.
Something about Florida. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't trust it.
I don't trust. But we're gonna be hosting another watch party as we did for all the previous Joe Bob episodes. So that's gonna be airing at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday, October 25th. We're gonna post a link to join the watch party just a little bit before showtime. We've used Rabbit in the past to facilitate the group watch. But I don't even think Rabbit works at all anymore. I think they went out of business. So we're going to be using a program called Zoom, ZOOM, which is free, but you do have to, if you're going to be watching on a tablet or a phone, you got to download the free app. If you're going to be on your laptop, I think you just have to log on to the website and create a little profile for yourself. So yeah, we'll post a link to join that just before showtime, and come hang out with us, get down on some Joe Bob this Friday.
What's he talking about? Do you guys know? I know he always keeps it secret. Has he been hinting?
Yeah,
He's
kind of
made
hinted at Halloween.
Yeah, he's made some major hints at Halloween, the John Carpenter franchise Halloween, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also seems to be a big fan of misleading people, so we'll see.
Hopefully it's the Rob Zombie Halloween. That's the twist.
Oh, hopefully.
Man,
I'm sure Joe Bob
he
is a
might be
big
able to
fan
make
of
those movies
films.
watchable.
That would be better. That would be better
That
with
would-
him, for sure.
I mean, unless he's like just gushing about it, which I just can't imagine. I just
No.
can't imagine that would be the case. But whatever, could be.
No, it
We'll
wouldn't be.
find out.
But yeah, that's all we got for housekeeping. Let's go ahead and jump over into what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
have we been watching? Hey, Randy, what you been watching?
Boys, I finished up that project this week, and so I managed to find myself a lot more time than the last several weeks to watch some stuff. So I
Congrats,
crammed
Randy.
in as many spooky season movies or spooky movies as I could. So I rewatched Silence of the Lambs, and I tried to watch as many things as I hadn't seen before as possible. I rewatched Silence of the Lambs. That's the only thing had already seen before. Finally got around to watching Taking of Deborah Logan, which was kind of lived up to the hype. I kind of like that movie came out and I didn't really have any expectation of it being different than any other Exorcist type movie, like whatever Exorcism of type movie. But it's got a little bit something extra going for it, I would say, and I think it's just pretty effective acting from the lady playing Deborah. I also finally saw Body Bags and saw my boy John Carpenter doing like a hosting gig, which I'd actually forgotten that aspect of it. Like when you told me about this movie, Rob, you had like that's what sparked my interest. But I just happened to see it on Shudder. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to see this for some reason. And then John Carpenter's the first thing you see on screen. I was like, that's why I wanted to see this.
Weird.
And it was fucking crazy. It's him and Toby.
Mm-hmm.
It's Toby, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
always
Toby.
fuck this up.
Yeah.
Always. I always want to say Tobe because I'm a dumbass who reads phonetically.
Joe.
My boy Tobe.
What's up, Tobe? There's a guy named Tobin, so why not?
There's a guy named
I also
Joe.
finally saw. Yeah, should call this a joke.
Yeah.
Behind the Mask. Finally saw that one,
Nice.
which was pretty good. I think some of the acting was a little bit. It could have been tightened up. I think could have kicked the tires a little more. But what year did that come out? I actually meant to look that up. That was like early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, like 2000.
So it was like I guess sort of like doing a similar thing to Scream, where not exactly similar, but sort of like self-recognizing the genre of slasher films and sort of building on that. And it really wasn't exactly what I expected. I mean, I knew that it was like sort of self-aware and semi-humorous or whatever. But it went sort of a different direction than I expected, and I had a good time with it. I think. Finally saw The Exorcist 3, which was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean, I've heard people that like really claim that's like one of the scariest movies of the '90s and shit, but it didn't really frighten me. But there were some pretty good performances in there. What's his name? Fucking Chucky. I can't think of his name. Anyway, the acting was pretty good. It was fun to watch. I thought it was a decent continuation of that story, unlike The Heretic, which wasn't so good. But not The Exorcist one. It's just not. Sorry, Blatty. It's not as good. Saw a movie called Fractured, a Netflix film. Have you guys heard about Fractured? It's more of a thriller, I think, by
No.
their standards. So it's a reasonably predictable movie, and I could see why it hasn't gotten a lot of buzz in the horror community. But it's like a guy. takes his daughter who gets in an accident to a hospital with his wife, and then his wife and his kid just disappear, and they just don't show back up, and he's trying to figure out what happened to him, and they're pretending like he's crazy, and all sorts of shit's going on, and it's like it's like kind of the is he crazy, is he not sort of thing, the whole movie.
Something going on,
yeah. Is there really something going on, or is there something in his head going on, and we just don't know. And it's a reasonably predictable movie overall, but it was fine. It was fine. I will say that I don't regret watching it, but I also don't heavily recommend it. And then watched a movie called The Heretics, which I believe is definitely a Canadian movie. I didn't have to look that up. I could tell by the accents. Which was fun. Sort of a similar thing to The Fractured. A little more horror-oriented, though. It's a little bit Exorcist, a little bit cult movie. Well, a lot of it cult movie. Little Rosemary's Baby thrown in there, but with modern horror sensibilities. It was fun. And then watched Troll, the 80s movie Troll, which I had not seen, and which features a character named Harry Potter, which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, Randy was texting about that this week, yeah.
And then he has a son named Harry Potter Jr.
That is kind of nuts.
Which is definitely going to be J.K. Rowling's next book, because she can't let it go. And then Harry Potter Jr., within the course of this movie, is trained to become a wizard by a witch. So, J.K. Rowling,
damn.
that is. What you doing, baby? What you been watching, Troll?
She's seen that one. She's seen it.
No, except I wonder, like, how common is the name like Potter in England? Like Harry Potter.
Well, this was an American movie, a deeply American.
Oh, okay.
Movie.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right. Never mind then.
It was very silly. It was a completely silly movie, but not as silly as Troll 2. But that's another story. I will say that, like, I enjoyed watching it, but again, it's not really a heavy recommend. It's just majorly stupid. But the Harry Potter thing just kind of blew my mind. There's no chance actually like took anything from this movie. It's just a crazy coincidence. But it needs to be commented upon.
I know, it was blowing your mind, Randy.
It was. I was just kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Elaine Bennis is in it. Like, I don't know. Fucking Louise Dreyfus. Louise Dreyfus is in it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just kind of this weird. It's just a weird fucking movie to watch, like without any sort of context about it in advance. It was a weird one. So yeah, that's my long list of this week's movies. Longer than usual for sure.
Impressive. Juice, what you been watching?
I rewatched Haunting of Hill House this week, so that's pretty much what I've been watching since it's like 8 or 10 episodes. I don't know. I can't remember. So I watched them all.
10.
Yeah, I watched them all, and man, it holds up really well. It's like interesting, like it just came out last year, but I think I watched it after Halloween because I was watching, like, I did the 31 Days last year, and then there was also just like some new stuff coming out. I remember like that Sabrina came out, and I didn't watch that till after Halloween. So it's cool to like watch it now, like in the Halloween season. And it holds up really well. And it's interesting too, because Flanagan is starting to do like more and more stuff. So one thing I noticed was like, oh shit, that's the fucking shitty dad from Gerald's Game or whatever. Like I forgot, like he's just like, he's like, you know, starting to like, you know, he's got his own like kind of,
he's got his people.
And so I'm not kind of like connecting the dots now that he's like doing more and more stuff. So I watched that this week and it was good. I'm like intrigued about that second season, which I assume will just come out sometime next year. But yeah, the first season's really good and holds up really well, actually. That ending is still peculiar, but I think knowing it's coming like helps a little bit. It does take a little of like the intrigue away from like, oh, what's in the room and stuff throughout like the series as a whole. But the overall story does hold up, and it was good to watch.
Yeah, I was revisiting that a little bit as well this weekend. I watched was it episode 6, the Two Storms episode?
Yeah, where they're in the church or chapel or whatever.
That's such a great episode of television.
That episode is amazing.
I watched it with the director's commentary.
Oh no shit!
And yeah, he was talking about it, and it's broken up. I think there's like 4 long takes all put together to make that one episode. and he talks a lot about like how excruciating it was to like choreograph that whole thing, and how like just the lighting alone, they had to rehearse for like 5 weeks just to get that shit right. So he's talking about how they're
Holy
on a
shit.
sound stage, and like all the actors had marks to hit, and they had to like program the lights to light where the actors are going to land in each room every time they move, so that their faces are lit correctly. So like just getting that to work took like over a month. It's, I don't know, it's just like it's already impressive, and then you watch him go into like excruciating detail about how like the camera rig was so big that every time they roll it down the viewing room, like where with all the chairs set up, they have to like have people in the background moving the chairs out of the way so they can wheel the camera down, and then as they roll it out, they got to put the chairs back without making any noise and shit.
Oh my god.
It's just insane, man. So that's super interesting. I think there's like 3 episodes they released with director's commentary. I've only seen that one so far. I'm gonna watch the other 2 probably sometime this week. I also rewatched WNUF Halloween special.
Nice.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It's good, man. I like it.
Yeah.
It probably didn't hold up as well as I expected it to, but I still enjoy it. I like it for what it is.
You know, this is tangentially related, but I went looking for Ghostwatch, and it's not on Shudder anymore, and I don't know where to find it now.
Yeah,
You
you might have to buy a copy.
Do they sell? Like, is there a released copy now?
Yeah, but I think
there
it's
was
Region B. I think it's only Region B though, which is.
I mean, I would consider buying.
stupid.
That's one I would consider getting because
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that one every Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to rewatch that too, but yeah, region free play.
That might be
Classic.
something I could use my mind to decide is a good investment for me to purchase.
Yes. Yes, you could.
Not
I also
an
watched-
impulse buy, Randy.
No. Well considered, budgeted.
We'll get there.
Smart. I also watched a movie called Killer Nun, which was just put out by Arrow Video from 1979.
Okay, I thought it was going to be an asylum film or something.
No, yeah, it kind of sounds like it, right? But yeah, it's super Italian. It's got some like giallo.
Giallo.
Just filled to the brim with pasta sauce.
We need a Giallo t-shirt, Randy, in the form of
We
a
do.
YOLO t-shirt that just says Giallo.
Yeah, now's the time to capitalize on the YOLO craze. That's for sure.
That's still cool, right? That's still hip.
About 8 years too late.
Kids
Probably
still say
more. I'm
that.
too old to know.
Giallo.
You're so 2000 and late, Randy.
The T-shirt I would have made before I found out that Bill Cosby was a monster would have been much funnier. But
Yeah,
There's
don't
always
put that on a
room
shirt.
for Giallo.
For giallo.
there's always
No, there's not, Bill. No, there's not.
now it's a
Sorry.
little too on the nose to have Bill Cosby wearing leather gloves and a fucking fedora in the shadows. It's a little too much.
Oh man, if only he wasn't a fucking terrible human being, we'd have the
know.
greatest shirt. Oh, well.
I don't know. Maybe I could. Maybe we could donate all the proceeds to something good, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
I like
cross
that.
that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, Killer Nun. It's about a convent of nuns, and they kind of run this hospital. There's a bunch of patients in there that are kind of losing their mind in one way or another. One of the nuns, the titular killer nun, has surgery to remove a brain tumor, and they kind of fucked up, and she's starting to go nuts and murder people. And there's like kind of a reveal that it's her, but it's just like so obviously her the entire time. Like it's not a reveal really at all. But there's some interesting kills, and it's I mean, if you've seen any of these early giallo type pictures, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. I dug it though. I dug it for what it was. It's kind of sleazy like the Italians do, but
Damn, Rob. Con Italian sleazy? Is that what you're saying, Bob?
Whoa!
Not all.
Xenophobia is not welcome here.
I think that's what you're
And
saying.
finally,
I did make a pasta joke earlier.
yeah, you did.
Pieces of
Finally,
shit all around.
I watched Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell and did a mini cast on that. So check that out if you want my thoughts. It's there for you. Yeah, that's all I got this
I'm
week,
guessing
gentlemen.
glowing.
It's super. It's so good. It's really, really good. Let's go ahead and jump into the main event. We're talking about Haunt this evening, and start off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
What is on the back of the box? Let me get to it. Haunt. 2019, like I mentioned, this movie was written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, who had previously written A Quiet Place, a movie called A Quiet Place. This was also produced by Eli Roth and
Shaboy.
Someone's boy. I don't know about Shaboy. But yeah, Shudder picked it up. It's going to be hitting Shudder. I don't know exactly when, but you can keep an eye out for that. The plot synopsis is as follows. On Halloween, a group of friends encounter an extreme haunted house that promises to feed on their darkest fears. The night turns deadly as they come to the horrifying realization that some nightmares are real. Or really just all of them. Pretty much all of them are. So.
All nightmares are real.
Rob, don't add your own commentary to the back of the box, okay?
That's not on there.
Hey,
we're box truthers over here.
This isn't back of the box plus Bob's thoughts, okay?
There's a whole section for that.
We're trying to be professionals here, Bob.
God, we are gonna.
Is that what you're trying to do?
This is gonna be for some reason, this is just dogpile on Bob Day. This is gonna be the one.
Here we go.
This is gonna be the one where Rob's
we're like
finally
30
convinced to
minutes
quit.
in already, or so, I don't know. I don't have a timestamp, but I don't know. We're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Are you doing pretty good?
We're doing pretty good. Let's talk about a movie.
Yeah, we're talking about this movie. Gentlemen, had you heard of this? Were you excited to see it in any way? Would you recommend people check it out? Randy, why don't you take us off?
So I only knew of it because we watched it for our news segment once. I don't even know if we actually got to talk about it that day. But so to me, I wasn't like terribly excited for it, but I did have just this year I've been watching a lot of not a lot of, but like between this movie and rewatching Hell House 1 and watching Hell House 3 and watching there's something that Haunters documentary again. Like it's just been haunted house like motherfucking haunted house season for my ass. Like been watching these movies that have like all at the same time or in similar times picked up the same concept. So I was open to it. I was like, well, let's see how this one does it. This is seems like more of like a straightforward extreme horror thing. Eli Roth at the helm, so there's probably going to be some nasty effects going on. And yeah, I guess I would recommend it, but I wouldn't recommend it for its current price. It's right now, it's a fresh release. It's $6. I might.
No.
So I would say, am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I would say like if you don't want to like it might not be worth $6 to you. I don't think it was for me, but it would be worth probably like 2 or 3. So I would say if you really want to watch it, go for it. But otherwise, maybe give it a year, and it might even be like Netflixed by then. Who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Shudder probably like next month or something. So
is it a Shudder movie?
The stream.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It is. It's
I
produced.
feel like such a shitbag sometimes. But the stream I had, I thought it was a Shudder exclusive because it said Shudder on there. Like
that's right. I remember that now. I actually thought that too. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, did I spend $6 on something I could have watched on fucking Shudder?
Yeah.
Thankfully, that was not the case.
Cool. Juice, what about you?
I agree with Randy that I would not spend $6 on this. But for free 50, it was a fun little Halloween watch. It was cool that it was kind of like set around Halloween. I would like it's a mix of like some movies we've talked about, maybe even like this year. It kind of reminded me of just a more like grittier, like spooky themed escape room kind of, because it's like a haunted house, but like kind of the goal is like can you get through and survive, essentially. So it was a lot kind of like that. And in the same vein, I remember we kind of landed on Escape Room being like pretty like medium, like like this kind of falls in that. Like I'll probably forget it eventually.
Damn.
I mean, to me, there's not a whole lot that like sticks. I mean, there's a couple things that like when you talk about it, will like jog my memory, but it's fun for the season. But yeah, it's not worth the $6 or whatever. And it's nothing like, it's not groundbreaking or a fantastic film or anything. But it's all right. It's fun enough.
You know what was interesting? You said Escape Room. I thought the same thing, and the reason is because it doesn't really the haunted house in this doesn't really operate the way I've ever experienced a haunted house operating. It's not like a walkthrough, so much as it is like you stop in each room and then shit happens. There aren't even scare actors
and
for
you
most
gotta,
of it. Like
figure shit out.
Yeah, and then eventually there is that room that just says escape room on it. So
yeah, it does end with a literal escape room, but also I think they're not totally worried about making it legit.
No,
they just want to murder some folk, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get like I can look past it. I just want to like the feel of it definitely doesn't like House LLC definitely did that more true to life, and it just kind of was something that kind of stuck out for me.
Yeah,
I feel you.
I feel you. I don't know. I obviously like this more than you guys did. I think it's worth $6 checking it out. Also, you know, if you have Shudder, just chill out and wait for it to hit Shudder in like, you know, a month.
Yeah,
like that.
do that. Yeah.
I enjoyed it, man. I had a good time with it. I mentioned a movie a little while ago. I think probably last year. It's called Extremity. It's put out by Dread. It's kind of similar to this. That was the first movie I had ever watched that sort of explored this idea of like the extreme haunt. But the kind of twist with Extremity is the girl that enters the extreme haunt ends up being more than the people that are trying to torment her can really handle, which is kind of
that's interesting.
A cool spin, I think. So if you do watch this, you dig it, you want something kind of similar, I'd recommend checking Extremity out. And I think that's actually streaming on Amazon Prime if you're a Prime subscriber. So it should be pretty easy to find that one. Yeah, I like this movie. I recommend this movie. Yeah, so let's go ahead and drop the spoiler warning. We'll talk about the rest of it. Randy, if you'd be so kind.
Spoiler warning.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I don't know. I think this movie starts off pretty great. Like on Halloween night, someone throwing a pumpkin at the door, it exploding.
Well, it starts out very, very
I'm into that.
Halloween porn. Very much so.
The opening of this movie, it kind of like it kind of not put me off, but I was like on guard.
I was too. I was actually surprised at how. No, I'm serious. Like because it seems like every. No, it seems like it seems kind of paint by numbers at first, and you're worried that man, we're gonna have the same dumb characters, and to some extent you have the same archetypes, but they aren't insufferable. Like they're not. For the most part, they're not entirely stupid, and there's some secrets to uncover and shit like that. But
like even through like the party scene, because like so it's this girl and her like roommate, and one of the girls like boyfriend's real shitty. He throws a pumpkin at the door and he's beating her and stuff like. And not like we don't see him beating her, but like they have a discussion about how he beats her. Yeah, and like she needs to break up with him. Yeah, and so they go to this Halloween party and like they meet this other guy. Like it's just so pedestrian. No. Jejun Stain says
I can smell your farts through this fucking earphone.
But no,
they do have
the
obligatory Night of the Living Dead playing on the TV too.
I know, man. Every damn movie.
Every
Poor Romero. So much lost money.
Free 50.
They found the stream. Am I right?
Dude, living overseas, you gotta work with what you got.
I know.
Just but no, balls, but man. it did get better, luckily, or like it did get more
so
intriguing.
They go to this Halloween.
Randy?
Yeah, they go to this Halloween party, and
They had some good, like, I think, early conversations. Like the conversations between the roommates are pretty good. I think at first about specifically like her making excuses for her boyfriend, kind of, or not being able to like move on or whatever. Like they set some things into motion without it being like unbearable to watch. I think I also appreciated that, like, oh, I don't have a costume. Oh, well, your Little Red Riding Hood. I thought that was like, okay. I mean, it's a little silly, but I don't know. It added something to it for me. It gave her like, okay, so this is how we're characterizing her, as sort of a babe in the woods, too naive to deal with
yeah,
her real life, and hardly able to deal with social life because baseball player, like the baseball player guy, frat boy at the frat party, calls her over, and then he calls her over. She's in a booth. She has to crawl under a table to go over to him, and she's like, "Oh, okay." She goes over and she's like, "Hi," and he's like, "Oh, did you need something?" And I was like, "Is this guy negging this girl? Is this the fucking game? What's happening? Like, is he gonna wind up being a douchebag?" And they didn't go that route, so it made me feel less like
yeah,
icky
he's just
about our
ordering a
protagonists.
beer. Who orders a beer like that? Is that
Yeah,
a real thing?
Yeah, I know.
No,
Also,
that's not that's a
quietest
movie
frat
thing.
party club I've ever heard in my life. You cannot have a conversation at a reasonable volume like that in any
Yeah.
club in America.
Also, that one
but,
dude just
you know,
comes busting in and just like throwing drinks around. What
Yeah.
the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
guy?
He was trying to be a human centipede, and the other two human centipedes bailed on him. I'm
Yeah.
like, how the fuck could you even, like, even if you had those two people there, I don't understand the logistics of that costume. And I was prepared for him to be like the shitty, cowardly, fat piece of shit, but he carries his weight through
Yeah.
the rest
Yeah,
of the
he
movie.
does.
He's kind of
They
shitty
actually,
at first.
they do subvert some of those expectations. Like you said, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to be the shitty, like, douchebag, or like, oh, this is going to be like the fat slob.
He is a
like,
doofus, though.
He-
He's a
he-
bit of a doofus.
He is,
He
but
is.
the way that they use these characters is better than just the tropes. They don't
exactly.
just
Yeah.
stick with the tropes.
Well, they just avoid some cliches, because things like specifically when this is when I realized that he wasn't like that they were breaking with cliches. It was when he and Little Red Riding Hood, who's the lead character, and then another girl, the nurse, I believe, they go through the very scary section of the haunted house. There's like a little diversion, a little fork in the road. They go to the
Safe
very
and not
scary
safe choice.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. And safe and not safe. And the human centipede guy, he leads the way the whole time. Like, I thought for sure they were going to do that thing where he like gulps really loud and says, "You first" to one of the girls, and they have to be like, "I can't believe how a shitbag you are." And like, they didn't do that. And I was like, it was absolutely prime for that. If this movie was made like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, they probably would have done it, or just by like more rote writing. Like,
Not
I
Shaboy
appreciate
Eli
it.
Roth. He wouldn't grab that low-hanging fruit. Okay. Give him some more
Shaboy.
credit.
Well, I don't mean to invoke the name of Roth here, but I'm just saying, like, they avoided some cliches that are pretty tired at this point. Like, that was its own subversion.
Randy.
God, I wasn't even
Got old in
thinking
the fucking
about.
80s.
Oh, sorry, Randy, you were gone for a while, so I picked up.
That's fine.
I wasn't even necessarily like thinking about Roth throughout this movie, but now looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, it does kind of sour some things a little bit, because there is a little, like, there is some kind of low hanging fruit. There's some things that just like. Yeah, I don't know, but they do like some cool things too. Like, I like the mask that everybody wears and what that eventually like came out of that. So like when the first person is like wearing like the witch mask, they get to this like they get to this little scene, and they're behind this like, glass is this woman in a cheap witch like costume, or man, maybe it's a man, I can't remember, but they drag like a girl out. They drag like a girl out. She's like in a cheerleading costume or something. She's like screaming like help or whatever, and then they like burn her but like make her disappear or whatever. So like, oh, it's part of the show. And but everybody's got these like masks on, so they're like really kind of cheap mask or whatever, but they are hiding like these terrible monster people. Or
Yeah,
well,
so
I guess they're regular people, but
Well, yeah, we
they-
don't
ultimately
learn
they're really
anything
fucked up.
about them other than what their faces look like.
Yeah, there's
which-
kind of a reveal halfway through the movie where there's the guy that's wearing like a devil mask, and he's about to kill our main chick with his pitchfork, and she says like, no, I can't remember the
Sam,
boyfriend's.
I think, was her boyfriend.
Says it's
She
Sam,
thought
like,
it was
no, Sam.
Yeah, abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, and
She thinks it's
and-
him because she saw him earlier in the night at the club. Or someone
I
dressed
thought it
similarly.
was just a slip of the tongue because she had been getting beaten by him, and
Oh,
it was just like a
maybe.
reaction that she had.
Oh, I didn't think
Um,
about that. I thought she
but-
like assumed it was him because she saw him earlier.
I thought it was an accident.
I
but
thought she
the
thought
guy,
it was him too, but yeah, it doesn't matter.
The guy, he like doesn't kill
I like
her,
that
and he
better.
takes his mask off and leans down and like is intrigued by what she had said, and he goes, who is Sam? But as he takes his mask off, you realize that he's like altered his actual face to sort of look like his mask, like a devil face. And that's sort of like a theme throughout the rest of it. Like the witch woman, her real face kind of looks like a witch, and there's a ghost.
They've mutilated,
Yeah,
self-mutilated.
Yeah, they're
or whatever.
self-mutilated,
Or-
like tattoo.
The ghost guy,
But
Mitch,
like body
the ghost.
modification. Well, the ghost actually kind of does look mutilated, but most of them that just look like actual modifications. Like they didn't just like take a knife and carve themselves up.
Oh, I don't
It's,
know,
like,
man. Because like the
added
clown, he's
stuff.
scarification. I mean, it depends on what you consider.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to go through. There's like, so what? There's
Definitely
five?
the
Yeah.
devil is like tattoos and piercings. Like,
Yeah.
that- that's
Got,
the first one
those,
you
like,
see.
Spiky piercings that come out of the skin. They're not like in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
skin or whatever.
He looks
I
like
don't
that
know what it's
Viper
called.
guy or whatever that like from Ripley's Believe It or Not.
He's
Yeah,
also
he kind of
yeah,
does.
he's got the like God. This I've looked into this before. You can like tattoo your eyes black, like solid black. And one guy
You
who
can
was just
tattoo your fucking shit.
That
Yeah,
sounds
where it's
like a
horrifying.
nightmare.
it's like some kind of special thing, obviously, but yeah, it's all black. But
Ugh.
one guy who's like a big like tattoo enthusiast, he was talking about like
Nice.
how much he regretted doing it because it just makes like, I guess the way the light then hits your eyes, like with white, it like absorbs light, but like with black, it just like he was just saying like I like completely regret it. But so the dude had like the all black like tattooed eyes and let's see. So there's the devil, there's the clown, there's the
Yeah.
witch, there's the ghost, and the hillbilly, right? Those are the five of them.
Yes.
The
And then
oh yeah, the hillbilly was
the
like
chainsaw
guy.
guy?
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
hillbilly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also see there's like a vampire guy who takes his mask off. He's actually just a normal guy.
Oh,
who's,
that's
like,
right. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Just getting in
That's-
to help them.
there's-
I guess.
Zombie, devil, vampire, witch, ghost, and clown.
Yeah. And then
Zombie.
we later see there's like a skull face, which is another kind of twist.
Yeah, that was cool.
Kind of
I
a
like
twist.
that. I like because when I saw the skull face, I was like, "Oh, who's this fucker?"
That was
Right.
cool, yeah.
That was like how they set
Yeah.
it up, and that was cool because like you're
Yeah.
like the devil's the first one to take his mask off, but it was I don't know, like more than halfway through the film. I felt like maybe halfway through. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little more than half, something like
And-
around there. Yeah.
And that for me, that's where like my expectations and like really where this like movie like kind of switches gears to where then it became like, what's their face gonna look like? I like have half
Yeah.
of it because like then it became like, oh shit, like what's up with these fucked up people? Whereas before it was like less about the people and more escape roomish, like what like almost like
Well, you didn't really
Saw.
check in with those people until after a certain point. Like then you started like seeing them on their own as opposed to just
Yeah.
following our lead cast of kids.
Yeah, it switched like when I first started watching the movie and they first go into the haunt, I felt like it was going to be like a Saw situation, like what's the most fucked up traps or what's the most fucked up kills,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then halfway through the movie they kind of switch gears on you where it's like no, like who are these fucked up people and
Right.
like what are they doing and how do they operate and how do they get away with this and like
Yeah.
what's the deal? So I thought that was cool. I liked that.
I did too. Like yeah, you're right. It was almost like the escape room movie or Saw. Like it could have gone that route where it's like everything is just meticulously planned so that they can have a big reveal at the end. But what it really ended up being is like, yeah, it's meticulously planned, but these are still like thinking sentient people that are trying to escape for their lives, and they're throwing wrench works into the whole thing the whole time. So like they can't anticipate every possible action of this group of kids.
Yeah.
So they have to kind of roll with some punches, and like you see them doing that as opposed to sort of like being shocked by a lot. Like there's a few points where it's like kind of up in the air, like when they meet Mitch, the ghost guy, and he's kind of like
Mitch.
fucking
What
Mitch,
a bastard.
and they're like increasingly hostile towards this guy because he's like, oh man, it's not supposed to happen at
Yeah,
first,
it's,
and then he's
timid,
like, they're like, you know what, you should take off your mask because you're freaking us out, and he's like, I'll just lead you through this maze or whatever, and, like go back out or whatever.
Totally
And
ignores
like,
it.
and then of course he like he traps some of them. I forget exactly I don't want to go through like the who's where of it all, but
right.
like people are like all scattered at that point.
Yeah, they split up, they come back together, whatever.
Right. Or the ones that survive. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was all pretty good. It was more interesting to see, like, even though we don't have an idea of who these people are and what their end game is besides just the murder of people, like, it's clear that they have some sort of like cult-like mentality or something, even if it's not a religious thing, because we later meet a guy who's in a mask and they have him at gunpoint. They catch him off guard, and he's like, oh shit, I didn't know they were going to kill people. I didn't know. Here, and he takes off his mask and he's like a normal dude. He's like, I don't know, these guys are fucked up. I thought we were just going to run a haunted house. And like, you don't trust him. You don't trust him. But he's going through this thing, and he's believable enough to where they don't immediately shoot him in the fucking head. And then somebody else, one of the other guys does instead. But he says this thing. The reason I brought that up is because he says this thing where he's like, they said something about like, I can earn my face. I don't know. And it's like, well, okay, yes. So it sounds culty, but let's think about this for a second from this guy's perspective. So you just set up a haunted house, a spooky haunted house with a bunch of people that either are fucked up in the face, have scarification, and like obviously are kind of like out there. And I have like one dude, the fucking Mitch guy, he's the scariest to me. He's just like melted his face into a perfect like, sphere with
it's terrifying.
The eyes and mouth.
It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so either you saw that and you're like, oh, cool. Or you saw a bunch of dudes wearing fucking Halloween masks that said they wanted to do a haunted house, and you were like, oh, okay, cool. You must have planned this with them somehow.
Well,
like,
that's
on
where
some
like
level,
this,
you were involved in the planning.
That's where this
He
movie
might have
like
been
kind
full
of
shit though.
well,
He might have been.
I
He's
feel
just
like that's
saying
where
whatever
this
He gets capped pretty quick.
He does,
I feel like where it like falls apart there though. Well, so like it was intriguing, but when there's like, oh, he's a tattoo artist, and they're just like extreme people, then I'm just like fucking me, you know, at like my age, and I'm just like, how do these people operate? How do they go to the damn grocery store? You know, like then it becomes a thing where I think of like
grocery store. Yes, that's an important question.
Yeah, it's
one of
like
Party City.
Well, it's
that's
just,
where this movie falls apart. They can't go to Publix like that. What
it's
the fuck?
well, it becomes a thing where I'm like, you know, if I were like 13 or a teenager, I'd be like, oh, this is so like edgy and stuff. But like the real me is like, obviously, like, when it's not Halloween and these people are, it's like, what's the end game for these people? You know, like, okay, they're just regular people and they have this warehouse and they had to like trick them to go there. And so like the string, like once you start like pulling the thread a little bit, it's like,
it's true.
Okay, like, you know, there's just
so,
these
like,
dudes and they got this warehouse and like this elaborate trap, and like they're not even like stealing money or anything. It's just like, we just want to kill people. It's like, how are you funding this? Like, how do you operate in normal life? How do you like
see? This reminds me
really
so
want
vividly.
To know that? Like, does that really matter?
It's of curiousness. It's of curiosity, but it does remind me very much of watching this movie when I worked at a summer camp on a day off. I put on Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which I love. I just threw it on the TV in the shared area. And then this dude comes in and sits down and was watching it with me. He's like, what does this guy do for a living? And he starts like asking all these like questions about motherfucking Pee-wee Herman. I was like, buddy, you have the wrong set of questions in front of you. You need to go to the other test. Yeah. So like that's where this is a movie where I would say the kayfabe of it all is required to enjoy it, because you're right. Like the minute you start pulling at that, and you want to, because they show enough behind the curtain to where you're kind of intrigued and want to know more about how these people operate. But if you can ignore that effectively, I think it becomes more effective as a movie. Like you just kind of have to look the other way on it, which is you have to work to its detriment for it to work to its benefit. You know what I mean?
See, that stuff was actually answered for the most part anyway in Escape Room. I thought that was very annoying to me. Like the inner workings of like how they make these things and like why they make them. I don't want to know that. It does
I don't
not
like. I
interest me.
don't need to know how they make the traps, and they actually, honestly, they addressed it a little bit, and I actually kind of appreciated it because as soon as they were like, "Oh, they're people," and then when Mitch took his face off, and I was like, "This dude can't operate in life," but they were like, they had a guy. And he said like, "Oh, I run errands for them and stuff like that." And I was like, okay, maybe it's just these like weird fucked up dudes. Kind of like, you know, if you kind of take stuff from that movie about the Swedish Lords of Chaos, where, you know, they kind of have their own like thing, you know, like they had their own place that they're
hard with each other.
I was like, maybe okay, so they addressed a little bit, but really like they're so mutilated. And especially the witch too. Like,
do they have any distinguishing marks? Oh,
she has shaped her face to look like a witch, and it's like their whole end game is we're gonna trap kids and we're gonna kill them. It's like, okay, when you really think about that, it's dumb, but like aesthetically, it's cool. It's kind of like
that's a constant push and pull.
It's like, who's gonna make this house that like around? But it looks cool, and when you're 13, you don't give a shit. So you know.
I mean, that's like, it's the constant push and pull. Like I had this problem with House LLC, going back to that. I don't know if you've seen it, Justin, or that whole series, but the first one is great because it only explains enough of it. Just kind of tells you what happened by the end of the movie for the most part, loosely what events happened on this night, whereas the sequels then start digging into the why and the how and the like, I don't know, adding to the lore, and like the more you add, the more you see like a clear picture of it, and it gets less scary. So it's like you have to strike a balance, and I think this movie does okay at that. But the problem, like it's just such a balancing act. Part of you really wants to know, but part of you knows that that's also could be to its detriment, just like Escape Room was to its detriment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, learning exactly how fucking Jigsaw did his shit in the first Saw movie was fucking excellent. So, like, I think it has a lot to do with how it's portrayed. They're not overlords. They're not like fucking people behind a screen taking bets or whatever, just the faceless enemy that have endless funds and can do whatever the fuck they want. This is just a group of dudes. They have meticulously planned it, but they can't plan for everything, and they're rolling with punches. It's like they took the characters from The Strangers and just built out like a whole different like method for them. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just kind of doing what they can do. And
I like that.
Kind of want to know how. You kind of can't.
I like that there's some sort of like thought behind them. Like they don't really like get too much into it, but they talk about like wanting to Harper, like the main girl. They talk about like wanting to take her mask off, but they're talking about her real face, and like these people like honestly identify with, you know, I guess the devil or the ghost or whatever the fuck they end up making their face look like. That's like who the real them is, I guess, as far as they see it. And I don't know. I think that's like interesting. It's more interesting than like normal people running around doing this, I guess. And it doesn't bother me that they don't answer all those questions, because I would find it uninteresting more likely than
it
not.
Definitely,
you know?
like I liked it, like, but like as it kept going, and like especially like the room with the dog, like the more elaborate like the traps, and the more idea that these are just like regular dudes who run a tattoo shop, like those two things kind of clashed. You know, I guess it's like these two, like I was saying, it's like Escape Room, where I felt like the antagonist of that was like, oh, these shadow corporations. I was like, well, that's bullshit. Whereas this one was much more interesting. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then like the two together, like
it's like they tease
have a hard
an answer
time
without
to
giving
exist.
it to you.
Yeah. And
Which
like the
I
clown
think, like,
dude,
that's the
I was
balance
like,
you
that
have to
dude's
hit.
So extreme. I don't know.
Like if you go, you can either go full Halloween with it, or you can go full Saw with it, and you have to even know. The thing is, it all comes down to like how you portray the story. In Saw, you don't get to know anything about who's pulling the strings until the very end, where they show you everything. In Halloween, you never get to know anything, because that's that you're focused on the terror of the person involved. And those are two extremes you can go to. You can also, though, have fucking like I'm trying to think what's the bad version of Halloween where you don't know shit about what's happening, like the fucking
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
yeah. Well, or
The
it's
bad
like
version.
Escape Room is like the worst version of Saw, where they give you everything.
Yeah.
But because of how they portrayed it, and like as this series of things, and you're not engaged with the characters at all, and you're not, how it happened doesn't really matter anymore, because the central question of the movie Saw is, why is this happening to them? Whereas in Escape Room, it's really just about how are they going to move on. And that's kind of how this movie is. It's like, how are they going to move on? So the fact that they teased a little answer without giving it to you whole hog puts it kind of closer to Escape Room on that spectrum. But enough is left to question to where you aren't left like, okay, I guess here's the whole thing on a silver platter and it's not interesting.
Maybe we should talk a little bit more about like what happens.
We need to.
Yeah.
There's one pretty major thing that we need to touch on. It's so Harper, the main character, sort of alludes to something that like bad happened when she was a kid, and I guess through a flashback we find out that her father was also abusive and like would beat her mom. And there's this ring like in the flashback that falls off of her mother's finger as she like hits the ground, and the ring rolls underneath the bed where Harper is hiding, and that's like sort of important to her. And throughout the movie, like her friend borrows the ring and she loses it. She's trying to get the ring back. And there's also like that flashback scene is mimicked in the climax of this movie where she's hiding underneath a bed in the escape room portion of the haunted house, and the devil guy walks in and she ends up kicking his ass. There's a shotgun involved.
That was great.
Yeah, so they kind of do a decent amount to flesh this main character out. It's not like wildly impactful, I don't think, when it all is tied together.
They just gave her some meat, like didn't let her be a skeleton of a character. They
which
gave
I
her
like.
a little something.
Yeah,
which I mean, like you said though, there's not thematically. I don't know that it adds a ton. Or like I don't know that it adds a ton to anything except for her character being relatable or likable in some way, and that has a lot to do with how they're all portrayed as like not idiots, not complete idiots. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that combo.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought that was a decent touch. I will say the very, very end of the movie was a bummer for me. It's like the clown guy ends up not getting killed. They worked through most of these masked people.
Yeah.
The clown guy makes it through, and he knows where everybody lives because he takes all of their information out of their phones. They give everybody their phones in the very beginning because that's like a rule. You know, you can't have a phone.
I would be gone at that point, by the way.
Yeah. But
well, I don't know. That's
guy,
pretty common for. I think that's pretty common for haunted houses now.
I think it can be common for you not to be allowed to use your phone to record, so people.
Yeah, but they don't
scared.
take it.
Somebody tried to take my phone. It's like, well, I don't need the fun that much.
The way they did the lockbox, I don't know. I actually thought it was like pretty convincing because like I've been to like I went to like a Dave Chappelle show and they're like, you have to put your phone in the spot. Like a lot more things are getting to the point now where you're like, you have to leave your phone here and you come back and you get it. And you're like, okay, like
Chappelle doesn't fuck around, that's for sure. But the clown guy, anyway, he survives and he shows up at Harper's house at the very end of the movie, and she has set these like booby traps for him. And then she shoots him in the face.
I honestly forgot.
She says, "Let's take off your mask," and like shoots him in the face. It's just like a very like stock kind of corny.
That was a dumb ending.
It also doesn't make a ton of sense because she somehow like. I don't know. I don't want to dissect but the timeline there just doesn't work. Her mom is just okay with her setting up Home Alone style murderous booby traps in her home after not seeing her daughter for like 10 years or whatever. Like,
and why would you write? So the reason okay, hang on. I feel like we need to. So there was like 6 people. I feel like we should like kind of go. We didn't really touch on the plot because we got hung up on the people. But so there's like 6 teenagers or like early 20, college kids. Right, there's like 2 guys, 4 girls. The first girl, she falls through a trap door and she gets taken and she becomes a part of like the show where the witch drags her out, and they've already seen it at this point, but now it's their friend, and instead of like burning her and her disappearing, they just shove like a crowbar through her head or something, and so they're
it's like a hot
poker. And Gallagher her head.
So she dies. So she's the first one. There's the other girl what gets pierced with a pitchfork. Is that when they're going through by the devil guy? Okay, so that girl dies. And then so there's two guys, two girls. One girl gets taken and you don't see her for a while. And this was a big reveal
cut up,
too.
and it seemed like she was she kind of disappears, but she also got cut up.
She did get her wrist cut through put your arm through this thing.
Yeah,
or whatever.
What kind of body part is in here? And it's like, it's a grape.
It's
great.
Spaghetti. Yeah.
Oh, it's a fucking razor blade. Somebody's cutting me.
But she gets taken and she's gone for a while. The big dude, he actually gets out and he's with the ghost guy. And this is when you see
the best kill.
It was, he gets beat with a hammer, and then the dude starts to rip his face off with like the claw part of the hammer. That shit was brutal. Holy fuck.
I was like, there's Eli. There he is.
Yeah, exactly. And then the baseball guy, he survives, right? Baseball?
He survives, yeah.
Boyfriend shows up. Yeah, boyfriend shows up at one point, and this was literally just to have another kill. So he traces the chick's phone or whatever, and like he goes in.
It's so that his car is there.
Oh, his car is
true.
That's literally it's just a pawn moving the car into place for them.
Yeah, and he gets he hits a tripwire and he gets like a bolt through the neck. It's essentially like a bullet, but it shoots out of the steam pipe. It's pretty dumb, actually.
And then he gets sledgehammered, I believe, by Clown Man.
Yeah, and then Clown kills him. And then but they kill off each one of these like tattoo people too. So like the devil, Harper shoots him with a shotgun that's been rigged to like kill her as like a trick trap or whatever.
She
dodges it and is able to kill him with it. And then then she's in this room, and the dude with the skull face, so we have seen him like lurking or whatever, comes and she tricks him and like stabs him with the pitchfork that she got from the devil, and it turns out it's her friend who
with the cut up arms.
They had taped her mouth up and kind of like did the whole thing where like, oh, you go,
tied her hands together.
So
they did a good job with that because they
did.
They just completely left that character in total mystery. And
Randy, you keep setting up these like Randy, you're gone again. You keep setting up like these big like speeches, and like as soon as you've set it up, it like cuts it out like immediately.
Well, it wasn't that big of a speech, so don't worry about it. But they did set it up. They did a good job concealing that, because you forget all about that girl. Or I did. Like
I did too.
It didn't really. I was like she was off the board as far as I was concerned at that point. And the skull guy, like they showed so little of him or her, just him sitting, that you think, okay, what is this, the boss that's running things? But there was no thought for me that it was anything more than that. They didn't show enough for you to pontificate on it.
Yeah.
Which was good. It worked out well. As soon as she's like got the drop on him, though, I was like, okay, well, that's not going to be what she wants it to be. Whatever. I didn't. Yeah. As soon as she's like, okay, well, she's not going to now like just be a badass. She's not going to be Ash Williams all of a sudden and be stabbing motherfuckers and like getting a drop on everybody like Mike Ehrman's out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then what happens after that? Then the ghost Mitch is out there like chasing people around, and the baseball player guy, he busts through the wall behind her where the shotgun was set up, which was a dead end, she thought. But he busts through it. It's made of plywood or something, and they start running away that way. But they find out that their cars are been damaged or whatever, and they can't use that. And then they see Mitch, the ghost, chasing them. And something brings them back in. I can't remember what that was.
They kill the witch too as they finally escape.
That was a pretty good kill.
Bash her face.
That was
then.
Teamwork. I was very happy with the two of them.
Yeah, as they crawl out of a trap door and they use that trap door to like bash her in the face, and as they do that, the mask slowly starts to break and fall away, and revealing her actual face, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
It was good.
Which is terrifying. Yeah, like that.
How did Mitch die? I don't remember them killing Mitch, I can't like remember it right now.
I don't remember now.
Oh, Mitch.
Oh, no. Baseball player, I think, beams him with his baseball bat or something, and then he gets clawed in the face, doesn't he?
can't remember. They kill Hillbilly that way. Baseball guy like has a
Oh, was it?
showdown with Hillbilly like in the fence. So the girl has crawled over like the barbed wire fence, and
Mhm.
baseball guy before he goes, he like
Oh, yeah, they have
actively like
a gun showdown.
oh yeah, he gets shot. Yeah, he gets shot like in the shoulder. Or
He brings
something.
his lucky bat to a gunfight, and he wins.
He wins. Yeah. So Hillbilly gets beat down with a bat. I don't remember how Mitch dies. I can't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know. That's pretty much everything, though. I mean,
That's so
really.
weird because he's the most standout guy to me, like out of all of them.
Well, and then like we
Whatever.
said that, so the girl wakes up, they get away, and the girl wakes up in the hospital, and so her and baseball guy survive, and the whole thing is like, oh, your friend, he's in another room, and this girl wakes up in the hospital, and she like figures out it was really dumb. So she has this realization like, oh my God, we filled out these forms and we didn't kill the clown. And for whatever reason, why would this girl, she's in college and she has a house. Like we start off at her house where she has roommates and shit. Why would you fill out a form for a haunted house with your parents' address?
Because you're in college. I mean,
Yeah, it's not important, man. I don't think
I know.
it doesn't matter.
But so the whole show
that's not your
comes
permanent
like,
address. It's a
oh,
sorority house or some shit.
he's gonna come to my mom's house, and so yeah, the clown
Yeah.
busts through, and she set up like this sticky tack where his feet get stuck, and then it's like Home Alone. He takes off like
is
his shoes
exactly
or
like
some
Home
shit, and he steps on like some tacks, and then she like beats him in the face
Nails.
with like a
And
sledgehammer.
then he slips on some micro machines.
Shoots
and
him.
then, no.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the
pretty
ending's
dumb.
sort of lame, but we need to rate this thing. Randy, why don't you kick us off out of 5? How you feeling?
I didn't hate this movie, and I feel like my score is going to reflect differently than that. I felt it mostly middling. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
I think that parts of it were really effective. I appreciate, like, it could have done a lot worse. It could have done a lot. Or like, but they took a couple turns that I didn't really anticipate, and I got to give them credit for that. I think that the performances were fine. I think that the characters were at least relatable to the point where they weren't making every dumb decision that everybody could possibly make. And at the same time, it kind of broke format after a while, which I appreciated. The spooky faces were spooky. I don't know. I give them credit for all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all spectacle. There wasn't a whole lot more to it, and the ending is kind of building on a story that just wasn't there. I think, like, I don't think there was enough of her, like, oh, this is the girl coming to her own, which is like a classic horror trope or whatever. But I don't think they earned it really. And the way they handled it is so silly at that point. I think that, like, the more you see with this movie, the less it makes sense, and the more you're like, well, I mean, okay, I guess you gotta ignore a lot more as time goes on. So for me, I would put it at I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I was gonna give it a 2, but there's a lot to like about this movie. There's just not a lot to make it memorable. There's not a lot to help it escape mediocrity for me. I think that the story is just kind of like, it's not about the story really. It's like they add something to give you something to cling to a little bit, but it's really just about watching these kids get fucked up or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's, the better movie for me in an ideal world would add to that or it'd have something extra going on. So 2.5. It's fair.
All right. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I'm like right along those lines too, where like I was guarded and then they were able to like get me off or like lower my guard, and I was able to
off.
Didn't you just
They got me off.
You want to get off with me?
want to get off? Oh yeah, I just got off right there.
Every episode we talk about Sunny in Philadelphia. Continue.
Well, it's
pretty
great.
much.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I saying? But
They managed to draw you in.
yeah, I was like able to enjoy the ride. Once it's not a thinker. You don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about this movie. The ending like blew it. Like it was kind of pretty dumb. And it is like really forgettable. I don't think I'll ever have the urge to watch this film again. It would take somebody like throwing it on, which I don't seem likely either. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna be like, "Huh, it's 2019. Well, like, we gotta watch this movie, right?" Like, it's pretty forgettable. Like, yeah, I'll give it a 2.5 as well. It's pretty medium. It's extra medium movie.
Juice is copying my paper again.
He's such a cheater, Blumpkin eater. Blumpkin eater. Like I said in the beginning, I definitely like this more than you guys do. I mean, it's not changing the game or like reinventing anything in any way. But I think it's a pretty like fun watch. I had a good time with it. The characters are relatively well written. They're not amazing. I think like the villains are pretty intriguing, and maybe they're not fully fleshed out, but I don't think that's necessarily to the detriment of the movie. The haunt and the kills are pretty dope for the most part. It's set on Halloween, which is obviously a plus for me. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of negatives to say. I guess like the thing with Harper's childhood is like it feels like a little half-baked. The very ending, like I said, with the ghost is pretty lame. That felt like a studio note to me. Like you gotta end with something big and boom.
Something's gotta explode at the end.
And boom.
Yeah. You gotta have the whoa at the end. Like,
Every producer in Hollywood sounds exactly like that.
you gotta. Where's the whoop pow 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 at the end?
You gotta give it a
Yep.
little sauce, you know?
The pizzazz, the chutzpah.
Hollywood is centered in the middle of Brooklyn in the 80s.
Wait.
Andrew Dice Clay is the strongest, is the leader of Hollywood.
I don't know. Can we have the ghost say, "Hey, I'm walking here" or something? Yeah, the ending was off. But other than those two things, I don't really have much negative to say about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Like I said, they're not reinventing the wheel, but for what it is, I think they're pretty successful in it. Yeah, solid pick. So that's going to put our aggregate at a 2.8. And let's go ahead and jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Haunt. Randy,
Certified fresh to death.
take it away, Juice.
All right, let's hop in here. Haunt 2019. Thanks for the shouts outs, or like the heads up. Not shouts outs, the heads up, because there is like a 2014 Haunt or something.
Yeah.
There's a couple
Yeah.
Haunts. This poster is cool. It's all the mask. I wish I had it on my wall because it's all like the mask that the guys wear: the devil, the ghost, the hillbilly, the witch, and the clown. So that's pretty cool. So there are 37 critics who have rated this on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's go around the table, see if you boys can guess what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Randy, kick us off.
Jesus, I don't think that people are going to be terribly kind to this movie,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll probably see some of the same value that we did. I hope. I'll put it where we put it. So that's what, almost a 3. So say 60%.
60%. Rob, what do you think?
56.
56. Okay.
Very specific.
Yeah, Randy is going to take it. It is a 68%, but I guess since
Okay.
the numbers are so low, it's not certified, or maybe that's not, maybe 70%. But
Yeah.
it's fresh, not certified though. 37 counted. The critic consensus is, okay. I just want to make sure I read this right.
That's promising.
Aw.
Okay. Haunt is spooked by the spirits of its obvious influences, but still packs enough thrills and chills to satisfy horror fans up for a haunted house excursion.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll take
yeah.
it.
So 68%. Let's hop into the audience score. User ratings 7.
Oh no.
Ooh, this movie is doing good.
7 people have seen and rated this film on Rotten Tomatoes. So
we know for sure there's at least 7 people in this movie. So,
Rob, we'll let you go first. What do you think? What do you think the 7 people have rated this?
I'll take the comedy number of 69, please.
69. Okay, Randy?
I think that the people who are reviewing this are probably pretty sympathetic to it. People who seek out to review it on IMDb.
Okay.
I'm going 85.
85. Randy's gonna take it.
Hey.
I think all of the actors in this film hopped on Rotten Tomatoes real quick. It's sitting at 100%.
Damn.
From all, it's 7 people. I mean,
Yeah.
It's still preposterous.
yes, it's
Perfect
I guess
movie.
it's 100% of them liked it enough to give it a positive review.
It's a perfect movie.
One of the top critics that rated this negative. I like this. Clever girl.
Uh-oh.
He said, "Feel free to ghost haunt." I thought it was pretty funny.
Okay.
Oh, the kids say that, right? That's what the kids say? Ghost?
Yeet.
That devil's looking pretty lit. Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Jalo.
Got a lot of that.
That's something the kids say, right?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody
There's
says,
always
that's
room for
sure.
Jalo. That's what they say.
Oh, yeah.
They all get that reference, and they're comfortable saying it.
No one is made uncomfortable at all by that. ever.
There's always room for Jalo.
Oh, Mr.
Night.
Tool.
Ooh, spot. Is Bill Cosby here? Spot on.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. Randy, do we have any trivia for this?
Not especially, no. I say we skip it.
All right.
All right.
Randy's
Let's
shutting that shit down.
skipping trivia
You
tonight.
don't want it. The only trivia that I would say is fucking the devil guy was the same guy who played Bagface, the Bagface killer in The Strangers.
Oh, that is kind of cool, actually.
That dude's tall as shit.
He's a tall dude. It's not tiny.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, okay. I'm saying, see, I like that trivia. Good job, Brian.
Yeah, solid
Thank
trivia.
you.
Good job, Ron, dude. Let's go ahead and talk Cooters. Cooter of the week.
Cooter of the week.
There it is. Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
all right?
I'm trying to think of who might be a cooter of the week. I don't know if anybody really fits the profile exactly. I mean, unless we're just going with straight up just, oh, they murder people, they have fucked up faces.
Yeah.
Like the appearance thing, all the monsters have that down.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we don't see the boyfriend much at all, but Sam could potentially be a pretty big cooter contender.
Sam, a.k.a. her dad incarnate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of him.
No, not really.
We just know
Mitch-
he beats his wife.
Mitch is high up on the manipulation scale, I would say. And his
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and his
that's true,
attire,
that's true.
we could give him a tire.
Oh,
yeah,
all of them
'cause
have
his
a
face
attire
is
and appearance.
God,
None of
his
them hit
face
the
is
new
real
spoke of patheticness, really.
I know that,
Except for
that
Sam.
hasn't been totally added.
Oh, I
yet.
thought we were on
We
board
don't-
now. I'm
we
sorry.
don't-
Oh, I'm sorry. I
know.
thought this was America.
Oh,
Um,
we gotta flesh that out. Fucking Korea over here. I'm an expat. Whoa.
That's what we sound like.
Man, you guys are just really on your impressions today.
Killing it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Mitch.
Mitch is a pretty big cooter. I feel, even though I don't know how he dies, I feel like he's kind of a bish. Like, I feel like he dies like a
Oh, Mitch the bitch.
Oh no, he claw hammers some dude's face off.
Mitch the
I mean,
bish. Yeah, but I feel like he probably.
Who hasn't done that?
Like he didn't.
You know.
I feel like
always room for Jalo.
Let's see. Maybe the clown. I wish we got a little more of the clown. Mitch is the only one where
Yeah.
we really like has some kind of personality.
Well, he's
these
the only one that
guys.
speaks besides the devil guy. The devil guy has some
Yeah.
personality too. He's just like very like, I don't know, very into his own mythos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he talks like this.
That's
Mitch is-
smarminess right there.
Mitch like talks like he's like the way he talks
Hey,
has got that
Mitch.
patheticness a little bit too. It's like,
He wears
oh,
sneakers.
he's like, oh, somebody's hurt. Oh, like let's help.
Oh.
That's not supposed to happen.
We're
Oh,
not supposed to hurt
jeez.
people. Oh.
He talks like fucking Morty.
He
Yeah,
feels-
kind of.
He
Oh,
feels like a
jeez.
cooter.
He
Yeah.
does feel like a cooter. It
I think
feels
they
right.
all. I think we have just a field of low-lying cooters. I think
True.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mitch,
No
Mitch,
cooter
stand out.
Mitch
superstar.
the bitch. He's getting my vote.
I would-
Mish the bitch.
I think that Devil has a pretty good claim because of his smarmy bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all have appearance, so if they're both hitting two different spokes.
Yeah. Nobody's super high. Nobody's super high.
All right.
But they all are monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
We can agree on that.
Yes,
Just not
I
cooterific.
concur.
right.
Yeah. Light Mish, I guess. Light devil.
How about
Yeah.
some? You want to do some news here, Bobby?
Oh, look at you.
Yeah,
Going on.
taking
with-
control.
Yeah, man. Let's talk
Alpha
about
Randy.
Extra. Read all about it.
talking about some horror news this week.
All right.
So we got a few things going on here. So HBO Max, is that? I'm unfamiliar. Maybe you guys know what's up with HBO Max. Is that like a totally separate thing
have
that you
no
purchase
idea.
outside of HBO?
The only thing I
don't
like,
know.
I know like
I don't know either.
HBO, like when I like go home for like Christmas or whatever, my dad has like all the HBO channel, but they've got like I get like categorized, like so if you're like scroll, but it's like with cable or whatever, like when you have like 1,000 channels and you got like HBO, blah blah blah, HBO, blah, like.
Yeah.
I would hope they all come on the same package. Like you
I
get
would think.
Yeah.
I am not totally sure, but anyway, HBO Max just ordered a pilot of a new show that is titled The Shelley Society.
The shit.
The Shinnin Society, but it's created by Robert Aguirre-Sacasa, who you may recall created Riverdale and also The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So he's got this new joint coming out that's it's described as a Victorian X-Files. So young author Mary Shelley leads a band of romantic outlaws, among them her lover Percy and Lord Byron, against all manner of supernatural threats and monsters, including Frankenstein. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got. Like I don't know what the fuck HBO Max is, but that's coming. Yeah, that to look forward to.
Nope.
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 That
No.
sounds
The more
like
you
they're
talk-
taking.
The more you talked, the more I was.
That sounds
less
like
and
they're
less
taking
interested.
Penny Dreadful and then applying
Yeah.
a Riverdale CW overlay on it.
Yeah, that's
It does sound
exactly
that
what
way,
that
yeah.
sounds like.
But it's HBO at the same time, so I mean, like they
Right, they
usually
make good
don't go
shit.
that route.
Yeah.
That dude has
These
not
are-
impressed me. So
Yeah, me either.
he's
Really.
very
It's-
teeny
I don't.
bopper. Like
Yeah.
the stuff he produces.
There's a market for it, and I'm sure.
There
Yeah,
is.
there's a
Yeah,
place-
people
Place for it.
certainly like those things, but not me. So
Yeah, I have still not watched Sabrina, so I can't speak to that. The
nah,
Riverdale
you're
thing
good.
doesn't really intrigue me. I probably wouldn't watch it either way, but Sabrina, I'm still interested in checking out one day.
Yeah.
It definitely has that teeny bopper. It feels like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer with less jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just based on what little I've seen. So
Yeah.
I would expect. I guess this is like that, but maybe taken way more self. Maybe this is if like Riverdale is the Gap, and Chilling Adventures is like Hot Topic, then maybe this will be like Spencer's. Putting a mall overlay on this.
We all want to watch Spencer's the fucking show.
Yeah, we
all
do.
want that.
Yep.
So yeah, we got that coming out. Also, we watched a trailer this week for the next installment in the Into the Dark series on Hulu. So this is going to be the episode coming out November 1st. It is Thanksgiving related. It's called Pilgrim. So the the synopsis is inspired by true events in an attempt to remind her family of their privilege and help them bond. Miss Anna Barker invites Pilgrim reenactors to stay with them over Thanksgiving. When the actors refuse to break character, the Barker family learns that there is such a thing as too much gratitude. Looks like these pilgrims just murder this family.
Pilgrim actors coming around to murder folks.
That shit was like making me laugh. I watched it and I was like, "This looks."
I wish I had a
this looks
strong
like chintzy
or enough
as
reaction to
fuck.
laugh.
I don't know.
It looks
like,
very bad.
Yeah.
It looks very bad,
yeah. So that
It's a Thanksgiving horror, which I feel like are in lower supply,
They are.
and
Yeah.
I would be loosely willing to give it a chance just based on that. And I think that's what they're banking on, maybe. But I don't know, dude. It just it seems pretty straightforward. And even if they twisted it up a little, I don't know if they could do it enough to make it seem less silly. Dudes with buckle hats are coming to kill you.
It does not look good.
The idea
they
of
made
like
it sillier,
killer
it might be better.
pilgrims was kind of like intriguing, but like when I saw it, I was like, "This is dumb."
I'd be more interested in watching like a American Horror Story did that Roanoke season. I know people didn't like it. I don't know much beyond that. But if they did a story like that around Roanoke and Plymouth Rock or something and made like The Witch but with pilgrims, like
sure,
I would be interested in that more than this. But instead they're going like, I don't know, it's kind of like Your Next sort of thing, but it doesn't seem, it seems way sillier than that.
Yeah,
exactly.
But not silly enough to be like intentionally so.
Just watch Blood Rage instead. Do yourself a favor.
Depends on how you define favor, but sure.
The last bit of news I have here this evening, Sam Raimi is in the news again. He's talking about directing a new movie, and a new horror movie at that. Hallelujah. Yeah, so the last horror movie he's directed was Drag Me to Hell, 2009. So this new movie, we don't really know much about it, but it is being described as Misery meets Castaway, which sounds fucking nuts.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we know about it right now. He's directing for Columbia Pictures. Probably won't see it for at least a year, I would imagine. But
how associated is Bruce in all of this? Do we know?
I don't know. His name is not mentioned anywhere here, but
he doesn't have to be. But it's always a nice bonus.
Yeah. Who knows? He might be. He might be.
I'm sure he'll. I mean, chances are he'll make an appearance. So like, it's pretty good odds with a Raimi film. But
very true.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like. I think that the answer to the question of that combination is The Most Dangerous Game. So I don't know. Like it maybe.
Yeah, it kind of sounds that way. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I just don't fucking know.
Starring Tom Hanks, coming to a theater near you.
America's nice uncle. Murdering folk. I want to see that movie. It's not far off. I feel like somebody's going to entice Tom Hanks to be like, you know what? It's time for you to do something really out of the ordinary. Your capital has never been higher. You're America's like kindly, gentle and uncle. You might as well capitalize on it, man. Go in there and do something really bizarre, and people will love it.
Should be like a wild serial killer.
He should be. Like they should have him like tucking his dick like Buffalo Bill or some shit,
dude.
It would blow people's fucking minds.
I strangely agree and support this wholeheartedly.
I want to see Tom Hanks tuck some dick.
I surprisingly do, apparently.
I would pay money for it.
I didn't know I did, but now I do.
You're opening up a whole... I'm awakening something in you, Jews.
Turns out Tom would fuck Tom. Who would have thought?
I wouldn't.
So yeah, that's all I got as far as news goes. Let's jump on over into our Hotline Screams segment. We've got some voicemails to play this evening. We've actually got 4. 2 are from Michael. Michael just talking. He had it on twice.
Talking.
Talking. But if you are listening and would like to call and leave us a voicemail, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231. Let's go ahead and play that first voicemail. First up, we're hearing from Michelle.
Hi, Straight Chillin'. This is Michelle. What I watch on Halloween, every Halloween night, is the classic movie Halloween because it's a classic. I love the score on it. Just the Halloween theme is amazing. You know that's Halloween every time you hear it. So it's always on the background while I'm giving out candies or doing whatever, and watch it more than once. All right, thanks. Bye.
Good call.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
gotta
for
go
calling in, Michelle.
Halloween for sure.
It's a classic for a reason. I feel like it's almost assumed that you gotta watch that.
I really
as a
love
horror
to
fan.
watch the two together, like if possible,
Yeah.
almost like back to back or
double
like
feature.
within a day. Yeah, like watch them real close. Yeah, that's good. Good suggestion, Michelle.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet this year. Actually, I want to watch. I think I'm gonna watch 4 and 5 double feature. I like those ones.
I've never
I know
seen
people
4
don't.
or
but
5, so
I
maybe
like
I
'em.
will do that.
It's probably
like
too
'em.
late for you to enjoy them the way I
Oh
do.
shit! Okay.
You know? I mean, maybe I don't know. Like Michael, one thing I forget, and every time I see that movie, Halloween 4 or 5, I'm like, oh shit, the mask is so terrible in these
Oh
ones.
damn!
It
How do they
is
fuck
pretty
that
bad.
shit up so
It's so bad. I don't know, man. They really they've done their due diligence over the last several features from them, but man, those ones and Resurrection is like, insanely funny. But
It's a
4 and 5
fucking
are pretty
parody
bad.
of itself.
It
Oh my
is.
God.
It's terrible. But yeah, like he's too clean, and it's just like he doesn't look menacing at all. It looks like a domino mask, like one of those cheap ones you get at Party City, and you're supposed to
Mhm.
decorate yourself. Like I don't know. Anyway, Halloween, good movies. Good
Yeah.
movies.
Solid shit.
Sometimes.
Good pick. Let's go ahead and listen to Michael talk for a while now. Michael.
All right. Now for part 1.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Michael from Horror Apocalypse. Listen, I just wanted to give you guys a call. I haven't called in a long time, so I have a ton of stuff I need to go through from probably about 3 or 4 episodes back to now. So I may need to call 2 or 3 times. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. First off, Justin, you were talking about adding a 5th point to the Cooter Hunter. I don't think so. I don't think that would be a good idea. I think 4 keeps it all nice and rounded. And to kind of make a 5th one an all-around patheticness of the character, I think all 4 of these points actually make for a pretty pathetic character anyway. And that's really what a Cooter is, in my opinion. It's somebody who's just ultimately the most pathetic character in the entire movie. So these 4 points add up to that. So I wouldn't recommend a 5th point. I think you guys have it nailed down just the way it is. Next, my thoughts on Ghost. I had to pick it from my boy Justin. You know, guys, I'm sorry. I tortured you guys once before. I need to at least make one of you happy with picking a movie. I know Justin had been trying for as long as I can remember to get that on there. I know it was probably a gag recommendation, but hey, you know what? $15 is a small thing to pay to keep you guys happy. So Justin, you're welcome. The other 2, get off your high horses. It was a good movie. No, I'm sorry. No, the movie sucked. The only good thing about it was the music. Next, let's just start watching all the way, going down the list here. Worst Halloween candy. I know a couple of you guys, I think if I remember correctly, said candy corn or candy pumpkins. Those are fantastic. I think you forgot circus peanuts are out there. You forgot black licorice is out there. I think somebody did mention Necco wafers, but they didn't know what the name was. I mean, those are all much more worse than candy corn and candy pumpkins. Next up, let's see. Most memorable Halloween costume. There's 2 actually. Growing up in the 70s, we had all these kinds of weird costumes where you put on this plastic like overlay, and then there was this big inflatable head that you strapped over yours, and you painted face paint on your face to kind of blend in with this bulbous head that's suddenly atop yours. That was ridiculous. I don't even know what kind of creatures I had, but I remember having a green one. And then my mother decided to dress me up as Dracula one day, and I had a big black overcoat that was supposed to be the cape, and she painted my face. I eventually ended up looking like Mr. Lobo crossed with a vampire clown. It was not a good site, and there's a picture of it floating around, I think, on my Facebook page. So if you hunt, I'm sure you'll find it. What do I watch on Halloween night? Well, yeah, I'm kind of cheesy. We go with the classics: Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween, all part ones. You know, get those out of the way. Now to cover the two other ones that you guys talked about. Spooky ghost story, Adam. My spooky ghost story. My religious belief, or my
End part 1. Part 2 begins now.
told you it was probably going to take at least 2. Anyway, as I was saying, my spooky ghost story. When I was little, now my preface this by saying my belief system really doesn't believe in anything spiritual. It's more of a science kind of thing. If it can't be proven, it probably doesn't exist. It was a trick of the mind. But when I was younger, probably around 15 or so, I got up in the middle of the night and I was trying to go to the bathroom. And where I lived, my bedroom had its own, giant walk-in closet that I converted to an office, and a giant walk-in full bath, shower, everything. So I got up out of bed and I was trying to remember in my stupor which door was which. And I don't know why, but I came face to face with somebody and was like, "Oh, excuse me," and walked around them to go to the bathroom. And then the next morning, I asked my mom, I said, did you guys have anybody over last night? Because my mother used to party all the time. And I asked her, did you guys have anybody over last night? Was there anybody in my room? And she said, no, we went to bed shortly after you did. And so I told her what was happening, and she kind of got this pale look on her face, and she said, what, did he look like this? And went and got me a picture of this guy, and showed me this picture, and I said, yeah, that's exactly him, and that's the suit that he was wearing. And then it kind of clicked in my head. I mean, this was a very dated picture. This guy was in bell-bottom suit and so on. Well, it turns out it was a guy that she had dated back before her and my dad ever got married, and he had died before her and him could get married. So it was like her first love, and she told me a story about how she saw the same guy in the same house, but he had a little blonde boy standing next to him, and we could never figure out who the blonde boy was. So about 3 or 4 years later, when my little brother was born, my brother is blonde. He's the only one in the entire family who is blonde. So we kind of, at the time, we thought, well, that was him coming from beyond to let us know that my brother was on his way. So that was pretty cool. That's my spooky ghost prank, or spooky ghost story. Now for my Halloween prank, anything that just makes people cry. I'm a big fan of making people cry. And guys, before this one runs out, I just want to end this by saying I want to thank you all for voting me the first real-life cooter, thanks to my movie pick of Curse of the Screaming Dead. It's an honor. I expect some sort of medal or some sort of award in the mail. Rob, you've got my address, so whatever you guys want to send me, I'll be glad to accept it. And have a great one, guys. Thanks so much, and, stay chilling.
You hear the sound of the Gish Gallop that just went over our ears? That was a lot.
Man, I think the most interesting thing I picked up from those voicemails is that Michael's mom is definitely a swinger. Did you guys pick up on that?
Hello.
Mom gets party all the time.
Hey, I want to put this out there so that we're perfectly clear. Cooters don't get awards, bud. All right? Cooters don't receive awards from this podcast.
They
Okay?
get
Sending you a cake all the way from South Korea, guy. It'll be there in about 4 weeks.
It's gonna have like octopus tentacles and shit on it.
Yeah, it is. Probably won't still be alive.
I'm an expat.
That's the kind of
Whoa.
cakes that we eat in South Korea.
Wait, who's we, motherfucker?
Oh, white devil over here.
That ghost story was fun, we got a ghost prank.
Oh shit!
That made me laugh. It's like, that's my paranormal prank. I mean, my story, whatever.
That story is pretty wild, though, man.
Yeah,
that story was pretty cool.
Out.
I mean, I immediately flashed to when he said bell bottoms. I was like, oh, Sixth Sense. That one Sixth Sense scene.
Yeah.
that one.
That one.
They're all dead.
Candy corn is definitely better than.
I did
Circus
mention
Peanuts.
Circus Peanuts. Yeah,
we did.
I
say
think
though,
it was a caller that called in for candy corn. I mean, we kind of were like, Rob loves it.
Yeah.
We're medium on
I
it.
do.
Yeah, I'm medium on it, but the sweetest candy of all was upsetting Rob on his
Yeah.
heartfelt beliefs. So
Black licorice, I did forget about that one. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, gnarly. Nobody likes that
I
shit.
never got one of those for Halloween though. I don't think I ever got.
You
I
get the
definitely
black
got
licorice
Necco
candy
wafers.
beans,
Yeah.
which is a fucking nightmare.
Oh,
I hate
those
those
things.
Yeah,
things.
those suck.
Candy
Those suck.
beans.
Yeah.
Candy beans.
I forgot all about that shit. Candy beans. Sons of bitches. They're jelly, okay? They're jelly.
Sons of
They're not
bitches.
jelly. No.
In
That is not a
Korea,
principled
they're
stance I
jelly
possess.
beans.
Yeah. I don't know. There was a lot to respond there too, but yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
prizes
I
for
wonder if we
cooters,
should
but
put,
thanks
like,
for
a
the
limit out there, like a one call per.
Yeah, I don't know. It I don't think that's going to be like a reoccurring thing.
No.
But
Oh my god! Now that we've
regardless-
addressed it, it'll definitely be like 6 of them.
regardless, just breaking your balls, Michael, man. It's always good to hear from you.
Hashtag appreciate you.
Hashtag
appreciate you.
you got your own podcast, bro.
That's funny as fuck. We got one more.
No, we appreciate you, man.
One more voicemail we gotta get to.
Yeah, this one's from
Heidelberg.
Heidelberg.
Heidi Birdie. That's what he has to say.
No.
According to speech to text, it's Heidelberg, so that's what we're going with.
What up, boys? It's your boy Heidelberg. Just calling in to say, Bob, you seemed really salty last episode about having to watch Ghost, man, and that it's not horror and all this other stuff. And I don't know, Justin, if only there was like a way to really make him like it, you know? I don't know. I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. Second verse, same as the first. All right, I'm not going to sing anymore. I just thought that was funny. Yeah, you know, it's not a great movie as far as horror goes, but it made for a great cast, and I'm glad you guys did it. Justin, keep giving Bob shit about it, though. As far as horror movies that I like to watch during the time of Halloween, John Carpenter's The Thing is like a must-watch for me, and I really like The Great Pumpkin, you know, Charlie Brown, can't get it wrong. So you guys just keep chilling, all right? Later.
You know what? I like it now, all of a sudden. It's crazy.
Bob,
My favorite movie. It just happened. Boom.
I think you're letting the spooky season cloud your judgment. If we had covered it in like February, I bet you could appreciate it more.
I actually do like that movie, though. It's
Yeah, actually,
Like,
you rated it
really?
highest, actually.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
rated it higher than us, so, you know.
so pretty good. It's actually pretty good.
No Henry VIII's required.
Yeah. Heidelberg,
love-
you got some pipes. You got some pipes on you, man. Thanks
I
for
feel
sharing.
like that's not the first time he's sung on that voice, man. Maybe.
No, it definitely isn't. And it won't be the last.
I hope
No,
not.
no. I love that we're entering the realm of troll calls, though. This is the best. This is what we wanted the whole
I
time.
thought that's why we made this.
Keep
That's
trolling,
absolutely why we made this. My only complaint is nobody's nearly inebriated enough. So get out there, make some mistakes, and then call us.
Next
Use
time
us
you
as
get
your one
shit
call from
hammered.
prison.
Don't do that. But yeah, do that. So as we've been doing every week for the month of October, we've got a new prompt for our Hotline Scream segment this week. We want to. We kind of posed it last week, and Michael called in one of the many fucking things that he talked about was he shared a ghost story. So we were intrigued by that. We want to hear about your paranormal experiences, whether you've experienced some sort of ghost or like, I don't know, an alien or just anything that's like supernatural or paranormal or outside of the norm. We kind of want to hear from you. Share your stories with us. And again, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231.
We are ready to believe you.
Bitch, I might believe. Yeah. So call in and let us know. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced any craziness. I don't remember you sharing stories. If you have,
You'll find out next
No.
week.
all right.
I
okay.
probably produced some, But I have night,
Yeah.
I have night terrors, so I'm sure
Yeah,
my sister
yeah.
had some sleepless fucking nights because of that.
Good lord.
Oh
yeah.
God,
It's like, oh, someone's screaming in the room next to mine.
this is my life.
Yeah. I'm 11 and I'm dealing with this now.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I don't have any of my own, unfortunately. I wish that'd be fun. It'd be fun to have to be able to
I
question
mean,
the universal.
maybe.
Instead,
yeah.
I have to just fucking deal with science and shit. It's bullshit.
Fucking bullshit.
It's all bullshit, man.
I wish I had some Phaeton stories or something.
Yeah. It's all bullshit, man.
I want to have seen Bigfoot. I want to have smelled Bigfoot.
I would hope to entertain him should I ever come across him.
Oh
I
yeah,
just-
that's the thing he's most
That's-
desperate for. He doesn't have.
that's my
HBO
goal.
Max or now.
My goal is to entertain him through drumming. So yeah, hit us up for next week. Let us know about your spooky stories, and yeah, that's it for Hotline Scream. We got one more thing, one last segment. There's only one thing left to do. It's time to say goodbye.
Where did Bob go wrong? Worrying his friends, sifting way too long through those Blu-ray bins, and it gets worse. He'll have no jet ski, wasting all his dough on those DVDs.
Good shit.
Rob, it's
Yeah, man.
intervention time. You've been wasting all your dough on those DVDs, aka
Mhm.
Blu-rays, aka.
You teased a pretty big week
I
this
know.
week. I wonder if you lived
Actually-
up to the hype.
Yeah, it's been spooky season, and we have been tracking Bob's Blu-ray purchases over the past several months. Bob's been pretty low, actually. I think it's the lowest month so far.
Are you sitting on a pile of DVDs right now?
He was at
I've
8
got a
last
few.
week. He was at 8
Yeah.
last week, which is
the month.
Rob has had 8 in 1 week easy before, and so we're
Mhm.
about to see. We're in week 3 of spooky season, Bob. It's the 21st.
I'm gonna be so happy if there's
So let's
12.
see. Let's see what Bob's got. Bob, YouTube
right.
exclusive. First, show us the stack. We'll count them up.
Here's the stack.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's 7.
6,
That's
7.
fucking
Okay,
7.
so shattered.
That's 7. Ooh, Haxon. Good call.
All right, Bob.
Yeah.
So,
So
Seven.
all right.
I'll run them down here. So I picked up Haunt on DVD, which we were talking about it this week, and so I just
Well,
got
no
a
wonder
copy
you
of
said you would pay $6 for it. You already had.
Yeah.
You already
I
spent
bought it,
20.
it. Yep, $20 billion. I also picked up WNUF Halloween Special, which I already briefly mentioned because I wanted to
Okay.
rewatch
I think
that.
that's a worthy own.
I like it. It's a,
So
it's
is
a solid
Haxon.
one for Halloween season. Yeah.
I saw that. I really like that.
Yeah, Criterion just put out Haxon, which I have not watched yet. I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces of it just because you would have it on occasionally, Randy, back in the day. But I picked that up from Criterion. Killer Nun, I already mentioned, put out by Arrow Video. 3 from Hell, I picked that up as well.
Oh, Bob, you poor man.
Man,
Yeah.
you just why not just buy some fucking whips for yourself just so you can lash yourself into
You
submission?
poor man. Go ahead.
Yes. The Haunting of Hill House came out on Blu-ray. I mentioned that briefly as well. And also the 85, I forget the year it came out, but the remake of The Blob from the 80s that
Nice.
just came out on Scream Factory. I picked
I'll
it
say,
up.
man, that for the most part, pretty good hauls. Some real duds in there, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's at least a few in there that I would consider for myself. That Haxon, I like before. Let me be clear about the role Haxon plays in a viewer's life. That's
Okay.
a movie that you don't need to sit down and view in one sitting, and it might be difficult to do so, but it is great to just have on because some just wild shit happens. Like it's, I don't know, it's not really narrative, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's a weird one to watch. I just don't want you to go in there thinking that it's going to change your life. It's just fucking nuts.
Is it gonna save my life?
It might save it. Yeah.
Well, if you don't buy it,
Probably going to save it.
All right. Well, Bob, cool.
Yeah.
15.
we're at 15.
And you got 1.5 weeks to go. 10 days. You know
Yeah.
the
Sure.
count. You're counting them now.
I do know the count. I
How-
have it.
how-
I got it down.
know
You
how
have a
long
final
got.
count for the month?
Final
So,
countdown.
Bob, you still have not broken 20 in the months that we've counted. We've counted June, July, August, September. I think you're getting close, though. 15.
Yeah,
I think you'll break it this month.
that's
What do
probably
you-
going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
Oh,
I mean,
God, I'm
So
so
October
happy.
isn't disappointing. Then it started off slow, but it's picking up steam. Is what you're telling me.
Oh,
yeah, it's
Rob is-
probably.
this
Probably
is like a because the spooky season's on its way out. Rob's feeling that pinch. He's like, oh shit, the sale's gonna end. I can't say
gotta
no.
get
There's a
'em.
limited time only.
The sales.
I gotta get them all. Those, oh
Um,
Lord!
Bob, the
Doorbusters.
whole goal of this segment is to see whether or not you could have purchased a jet ski had you just saved your money instead of purchasing all these Blu-rays. We're coming up on the end of the year, Bob. Not only is spooky season ending, but we're coming up on the end of the year, and I don't know. How confident do you feel, Bob, that you could have purchased a jet ski?
I'm not going to participate in this part of this segment.
Oh,
I refuse this part of this segment. I don't
All right.
want to have that conversation.
All right.
I don't want to have to come to terms with myself. Okay?
so just
You only
blanket
want to
denial.
talk about your hobby of purchasing Blu-rays. Talk about what special features they have. I understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Me
that's
Yes.
me and Randy will take care of this.
That's fine.
Randy,
That's fine.
Randy, how confident are you that Bob could have purchased it?
Oh, you know, the DVDs they're not as expensive. Rob does look for a deal, so I got to give him credit for that.
Rob's the deal man.
But you know, it's still money out of the old Kawasaki fund. So I don't know.
We'll see. I guess we'll have to see how bad October gets. I guess that can be, a huge factor too. Is it going to be the bloodbath Bob promise?
If we get to the 20s, and the deals are only going to get better, my friend. Next month is Black Friday, followed immediately by the holiday season.
Oh, that's true.
So-
Oh man, I wasn't thinking about like Prime Days and Black Fridays and
Digital
Christmas
dick
might be the
days or whatever.
bloodbath.
It always is.
Actually,
I got
December
gift
is-
cards, man. I got gift cards.
I mean, a dude gets gift cards.
A dude.
Gift
Come
cards
on.
can buy
It's a
jet
gift
skis too, Bob.
I don't think that's how that works. I don't know.
They're transferable. You know it.
Yeah,
December
will probably be.
Amazon has
any
jet
fucking-
skis, Bob.
Any jet ski salesman worth his salt will take your fucking Amazon coupons.
If you're a jet ski salesman, please reach out to us. Now that you
Tell us what kind of deals we can expect.
tell
Rob
us
to
what
miss
kind of
out on.
deals Bob's could have gotten. Now
Yep.
that you
We should
know a
just
little bit more
get-
about his Blu-ray history,
We should actually be sponsored by Jet Ski. They should provide them for us.
dude. If somebody wants to provide us with a straight chillin' jet ski, that would be amazing.
I would
I would
never
actually
stop losing
be
my
amazing.
mind. I would probably, that would be fucking nuts.
Ride that bad boy around.
Maybe we need
Oh,
a
yeah.
That would
GoFundMe.
break me as a person. I think. Yeah. That's typically reserved for people with health issues, but sure, you get your jet ski, buddy.
You get it. Yeah, GoFundMe.
We need
Yeah,
it.
no.
We need it for hurricane season. So Bob
Let's see.
can
Do I
still
give
roll
it?
down
Do
the
I give it
movie
to
theater.
these?
I thought hurricane season was over.
We're gonna give this to. We can either give $50 to this person who needs a new liver, or provide a custom jet ski to the straight
Liver,
chillin' crew.
liver
It's an easy
schmiver,
choice.
Randy. Okay.
These guys
Yeah.
really do want
Livers
a jet
come and
ski.
go, but a one of a kind, straight chilling jet ski.
A Sea-Doo?
That's once in a lifetime,
That's
buddy.
that's
That just-
prime. That's prime real estate right there.
Prime rib. Right. Yeah, so that's going to do it for us this week at Straight Chilling. We're going to be back next week with a brand new show. It's going to be our Halloween extravaganza episode.
Whoa!
which is-
What is this? 3 years running now?
Yeah, I think 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
It's a
we
ganza.
Yeah.
We do a double feature for Halloween. Next week, we're going to be talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Whoa!
Ooh, yes.
What have our past?
got some
real
hopper.
quick. I listened to Ghostwatch and WNUF, which was 2 years ago, and then last year we did the Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living
Yeah.
Dead. That's all. That's all we. Or no, yeah. What was it? Dawn of the Dead? What?
Dawn.
Dawn. Yeah.
And those. So this is the third year, right? We didn't do anything before
Yeah.
Ghost Watch, did we?
We did an extravaganza, but it wasn't a double feature. It was just sort of like a
so-
bunch of different segments we tried out.
That's right. We did the Candy
Yeah.
Bowl and stuff like that. So technically,
Yeah.
fourth extravaganza, third double watch, double
Mhm.
feature. Okay.
Just a little straight chilling history lesson for you tykes out there.
Yeah. We've been around a long time, boys. 5 years
have.
this year.
Getting long in the tooth, and we're not getting any jet skis any quicker.
5 years.
Yeah.
How much shit have we watched in 5 years? A lot.
Oh, a lot of shit.
Yeah. A ton. A ton.
And Ghost is now a
Um,
part of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. it
Hooray.
is.
Hooray.
Lord have mercy.
So check out those movies. Be ready for next week's show. Until then, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. It's an easy way to support the show that only costs a minute or two of your time. It helps people find us that don't know we exist. You can hit us up on Twitter at str8_chilling, on Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. Send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join our Slack channel, talk about the movie of the week, talk about horror TV, music, video games, all kinds of stuff. Just hit us up on any one of the social media platforms. Let me know. I'll send you a link so you can join in on the Slack conversations. Don't forget to call and leave us a voicemail. We want to hear about your spooky real-life experiences, ghosts, aliens, Sasquatches, big feet, whatever it is. Hit us up at 904-638-3231. We got one more week of the Blu-ray raffle. Support us on Patreon to get in on that. Watch Justin play video games. Check us out.
Randy's
on
new
YouTube.
clip. Yeah.
Watch Randy's new.
Let's go
freaking-
viral. We're going to do it.
Yeah. It is
Make it
incredibly
viral.
dope.
Can you,
it is
Mike?
dope.
That's every client in America does that shit. They're like, can you make this one viral? Can you
Let's
click
go.
viral
Can
on
we
the
go
tick
viral
box?
at this
Yeah.
one? Can I
Yeah.
pay an
Let's go
extra $3.50 to go viral, please?
Yeah. Well, it's an extra $50. I can cover that.
I really
Make
like
it
to go
viral,
viral.
please.
I love that. Can we make this one go viral?
Is this
Yeah,
one of
let's
those
go on.
virus videos?
You know what? I'm feeling saucy. Let's spring for the viral on this one.
I'd like the viral package, please.
Oh, you know what? Weatherproofing too. That'd be good.
Spare no expense.
Some expense. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Until also I almost forgot to mention this.
Oh,
I wanted to. I wanted to.
Oh,
close
is this
the
about
show
your
out.
orgy, Rob?
This is about the orgy. Please,
Spooky
please
orgy.
join in. Join in on the spook orgy. So we're. That is not what I meant. So yeah, I wanted to end the show with a little bit of a tune. The credits for Haunt, whenever it rolled, I noticed the lyrics that were happening are the lyrics from Dragula, Rob Zombie's Dragula, and the artist performing it is Lissy.
Yes.
I don't know. I dug it. I just wanted to play us out with that. So here we go.
Sorry, YouTube. And also, sorry, everyone else.